I was trying to come up with a different way of looking at things. We talk about a lot of the same things over and over again, and most of the channels tend to do a lot of similar things. So I think I might be the first to take this particular direction. Going to try and look at how I think teams will attack the West Virginia, at least in the early games. How are they going to game plan for West Virginia? We'll see if I'm right, and we'll see if it works when they try it, what they try later. Meanwhile, as some of you know, this is WVU Football Going Deep. I am Forrest Poston, and I don't know how to game plan for that. I'll just have to make do. Please subscribe. I'd really like it if you share the video. Please make comments. Click the thumbs up and click the notification bell and tell your friends. And then go back and share again if you would. And tell your friends to share for that matter. Now, I'm going to look at how I think the opposing defenses will come after the offense. Have to see how long the video runs, whether I'll do the defense in this video or separate video. Of course, that kind of depends on how much I talk. And if you'll forgive me, I am setting my stopwatch here so I can see how long I have been talking. Maybe that'll help, maybe it won't. Now, I do think the offensive line will be good overall, but there's no denying that Wyatt Milam is the strength of the line. Remack probably second. So teams are going to come after the right side of our line. That's where they're going to bring pressure. Center to right tackle. Probably some blitzing there. On the positive side, that means Green should see it coming. If Marchiol is in, that means they're coming from his blind side. He'll have to see it before the snap and guess that it's coming. You do need to go over to the In the Gun podcast. They've got a 2-episode video set about Garrett Green, one as a runner, one as a passer. And Jed Drenning breaks down how Green does as a passer when he is pressured. Go watch it and break it down. It's very good. I'll give you the short version. Green is good under pressure. So if teams do bring pressure and make some dents in the line, there is a good chance that Garrett Green will make them pay for that. So teams may have to figure out something else, even if when they try to get pressure, they do get pressure. Getting pressure is not necessarily the answer when facing Green. And he will have a lot more options and hopefully a lot more accuracy in the passing under those circumstances. I do not think teams are going to try to fully stack the box against the run. WVU did enough with the passing second half of the season to tell teams that's not going to work. And I mean, that was the ground and pound, the grind and grit, getting 4 yards even with a stacked box. They did it because they needed to, but they were able to run well enough against a fully stacked box. But I do think teams are going to favor the run, whether that means putting one or two extra people in the box, just kind of edging guys forward a bit. And WVU will have to be able to run successfully against not a stacked box, but a little bit stronger box. And not 4 yards. They'll need to be, we need to be getting 5, 6, 8. This is not a ground and pound offense. They can do it if they have to, but you really don't want them to be doing that. And Jaheim White is certainly not ground and pound. He's more like ground and gone. So we did not have White playing well or playing during the grind and grit period. So that is different. He is one of those guys that if he gets past that first layer of a stacked box, he is gone. So that's another reason teams aren't likely to try fully stacking the box. White can make them pay for it receiving or running. And, so can Donaldson for that matter. He won't be injured this season like he was last year. But we also will have to be able to pass. Coach Brown said in recent press conference that teams tried to make them go vertical. And, in West Virginia went vertical, and they did a good job of it. But they're going to have to be more varied in the passing attack, including that short to intermediate game. And obviously a higher overall percentage, completion percentage in the short and intermediate game. They're not going to give up the deep ball. Green does that far too well to give it up. But I think, I say teams are going to pressure the right side. Now, they may try to bring like a cornerback blitz from Milam's side out wide enough where Milam won't be involved in the blocking. And the quarterback has to see it, or the running back has to pick it up. That's not the kind of thing you can do too often. So I don't think Milam's side will be where they bring most of the pressure. Now, at the same time, I think teams are going to expect us to run to the left, take advantage of Milam and Rimac. So the right side has to be able to run block. The team has to be ambidextrous. Now, of course, you're not going to get a full 50-50 split left and right, and you're not going to get exactly identical results left and right, but have to be able to balance it enough that teams cannot guess which way we're going. But I think early on they are going to guess Milam's side. And Milam and Rimac have to be able to make the blocks even when they're expecting the run that way. Also, and this is one that does have me a little bit worried. Teams have been and will watch the Oklahoma game. And Oklahoma managed to give Green a lot of trouble. They kept him confused. They had him making all the wrong, making too many reads in all the wrong places, too many reads in all the wrong faces. That's a reference for you Johnny Lee music fans. Green was doing better the last part of the game. It was kind of late, but he was figuring things out. He has had time to work on that. Nobody in the remaining games managed to do the same thing. So I am hoping that Green's ability to, pick the right reads and go has improved. I'm sure Tyler Allen has worked with him on that. I'm sure they have gone over that game tape a lot. But it still worries me. I still expect teams to try to confuse him. I don't think they will succeed, but can't rule it out. All right. Well, hasn't been that long, I don't think. So I'm going to switch over to the other side. How will opposing offenses go after the defense? West Virginia was usually good against the run. Now, there were some big games for opposing players. Of course, you look at the if you look at the game stats for Ollie Gordon, it looks, technically it was a monster game. But they didn't give up most of those yards until the fourth quarter. I won't say they held him in check, but they held him enough so that he was not making, a big difference in the game. And West Virginia was ahead. It wasn't until Wilson Lamp ran into our punt returner that the game turned, and then West Virginia had to take a lot of chances, missed the run fits, and Gordon just ate up yards. So that's a little bit misleading, but I think teams are going to see if they can make the linebackers miss the run fits. The wrong gaps, the wrong angles. Now, linebackers are different this year. Trotter, Lathan, those are guys who are going to make the right fit almost every time. Cutter, probably the same this year, as in terms of making the right fit, because he made so many wrong ones last year, and he is pretty darn determined to not make the same mistakes. And Carrico hasn't played a lot, but he's been around a good while, so I don't think he will be missing run fits. But teams will probably try to create mistakes on those fits until linebackers prove it's not going to happen. And there were times when something went wrong in the middle of the defense and they gave up just massive runs up the middle, guys 20 yards downfield before they were touched, if they were touched. And I think teams are going to try that again. And we're going to find out whether the problem was personnel or not. We now have Mulba, who will be starting, who should be, a good run stuffer up the middle. As long as he, maintains gap integrity, I think we will stuff that. But again, teams are going to try it until WVU proves that the problem has been fixed, the hole has been plugged. Definitely teams are going to try to attack the defensive backfield. They know that we have two corners who are new to WVU. Well, the starting corners will be new. We've got a whole passel of new corners, new safeties. And I don't know if offensive coordinators will make the same mistake people have been making of thinking that the safeties were the issue last year instead of the linebackers, but they might. And regardless, they're still going to figure the middle was the place to work, and they'll try it again. Safeties will have to prove they're doing their job, and the linebackers will have to prove they're doing their job. Now, Lathan was not an issue last year. He's back. Of course, part of the reason he wasn't an issue, but he was usually an issue for the offense because he was all over the quarterback, not giving them a chance. And if you want to foul up the passing lanes, being 2 feet ahead, in front of the quarterback is a pretty darn good way to do it. Now, having said that, there were problems at times last year containing the quarterback. Got pressure, let the quarterback out of the pocket. That meant big plays. It was one of about 3 reasons that West Virginia lost the Penn State game, and close in others. So I do think teams, those especially with mobile quarterbacks, and there are quite a few of them in the Big 12, are going to try to move their quarterback outside of the pocket. And West Virginia is going to have to say no. We've got the size, we've got the speed. Will we have assignment integrity? Because that's the difference. So I think defenses will attack the right side of our offensive line. I think they will overplay the run, but not to the point of stacking the box. I think that offenses will, try the middle, both in terms of run and pass, and try to move their quarterbacks outside of the pocket. I think West Virginia has the ability to stop all of that, to counter all of that. And I think they will do so. But as a lot of people like to point out, it doesn't count until it happens on the field. I think it'll happen. Now, of course, I'm even more excited to see the season start, so I'll find out if I'm right about how the other teams are going to game plan. It would be interesting. But in my lifetime, I have found being right gets me in trouble more often than being wrong, so we'll just have to wait and see how things go. Anyway, that's my look at things. I appreciate those of you who've come by to watch and listen. I'll be coming up with more ideas, more words. And now, so long.